Look at us revisiting middle school. Thank you for joining Escape With Me Book Club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Danielle.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today we'll be going to Westchester, New York, United States. I probably pronounced that wrong according to Macy, but it's fine. Published May 5th, 2004. Goodness. The Clique sparked a long-running series and then a 2008 movie by the same name. How does the series hold up over 20 years later? And why is the movie marked comedy? It really shouldn't be. They did it wrong, but that's beside the point. Anyway, background on this is I was obsessed with this series in middle school, but I think I fell off before the series finished.
How many books are there in this?
There's a lot. I can tell you for sure in a second, because there's a prequel.
Oh, what? What's before this?
I guess Claire with her friends in Orlando, and then I think it's the summer before. One of those. I feel like every series does, like, oh my gosh, a summer before.
Who wanted that?
The people that like this series.
If you cannot tell, I'm a hater.
So, including the prequel, we have 15 books. They went from 2004 to 2011. So yeah, I was definitely not reading the Clique books in high school. But I think I made it to the 11th book, which is Boys R Us, which is in 2009, which would make sense. It would be my 8th grade year. And then they have 3 more after that, but I missed those. So
Oof, like me with the Maximum Ride series. I was way too old by the time the last ones came around. I was committed at that point. Like I read them, but I found it in 6th grade, and it's like it should have stayed in 6th grade. Sometimes mid-lit books are actually supposed to be for middle schoolers. Who would have thought?
Wait a second. Oh my gosh, it's the same author that wrote Monster High.
This author?
Yeah, they are the same author.
Weird.
She started that series in 2010. She also has a series called Girl Stuff, which looks like a graphic novel. It might be something else. And then there's something called The Alphas, which also feels correct. But yeah, this woman rich off Monster High. People still obsessed with Monster High. There's only 4 books. That's crazy. Getting that TV show really, really took it off. That's so crazy. I did not realize that. She went on to have such commercial success after that. But I never knew about the movie. And it doesn't seem to be, is it a Nickelodeon? Straight to TV?
It had to have been straight to TV, whatever it was.
But it's also the level of the Nancy Drew movie that was in theaters, too, around the same time.
I vaguely remember the movie existing, but I did not watch it until right now, which is probably for the best, because I probably would have not agreed to do this as our book pick. Because honestly, I kept seeing clips of it on TikTok, the movie, and it's got such a famous cast that I was like, how have I not seen this movie? It's got Bridget Mendler. It's got that random girl from Switched Up Birth. She plays Lane.
No, this was produced by Warner Brothers. Oh, it was distributed by Warner Home Video.
That tracked immediately.
So, is it a straight to DVD? I have so many questions. Because who owns Nickelodeon? Because this was not a Disney one. If this was a Disney one, I would have known.
Is Warner Brothers not its own thing?
Warner Brothers is, but I'm wondering, see, Nickelodeon is owned by Paramount. That's right. And so if this was a straight to Nickelodeon TV, it would be on Paramount. But if it was Disney, it would be on Disney Plus. But it's on Amazon.
Nobody wanted it. Me too.
I don't remember that many straight to DVDs without Disney Pass. I
don't think Disney did this. It was Warner Brothers.
Oh, it was apparently also filmed on Rhode Island, which is hilarious.
To be fair, they did not even pretend that they were in, New York?
Yeah, they mentioned it at the very end. I don't know. It does not tell me. And I am shocked. It was actually written by a woman, but it was directed by a man. That makes much more sense.
That tracks.
He's best known as an actor on One Day at a Time, which is in 1979 to 1984. So like I said, an old white man's version of what 14-year-olds are like. But also, I'm going to blame the screenplay as well, but we will get there. I do not know. It was produced by one of Tyra Banks' companies, Bankable Productions. So Tyra Banks' company was at least involved in this. This is such a weird little blip. I don't know. We may never know. Someone please put in the comments. because what the heck? Anyway, yeah, very star-studded cast, but I completely missed it. And yeah, it looks like everybody missed it. So, except for you. You remembered that this existed, and this is why we watched it.
I didn't care enough to go watch it or figure out whatever, but because whenever I started seeing the clips on TikTok, I was like, oh, I've seen this movie before. But I didn't. I had seen some kind of, I guess, trailer. I for sure have not seen this movie until the other day.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just like opened a memory, and I was like, okay.
Oh, it was featured in another top 10 Mean Girls in Movies, Miss Mojo from 2019.
Oh my God, that's what I've seen this movie from.
Is it?
Probably. I watched like every single Miss Mojo.
We might have found it.
I was like, there's no way I know about this movie that I don't care about, and you, who actually read the books, didn't know about this.
Nope.
That's what it was. Figured it out. Okay.
Thank you, IMDb, for quoting that there was in a Miss Mojo video. Okay, well, anyway, the age for both of them is mid-lit. And, what's the rating, actually? Because I was trying to figure out if we say the B word, is it automatically PG-13? They say the B word a lot.
She said it in the book.
They say it twice in the movie.
Yeah, but Claire had said it as like a catchy comeback, kind of like dog reference thing, I thought.
Acting like a...
Because in the movie, it felt really stilted.
It was, well, everything felt stilted, but that's beside the point. But for the content warning, this is rated PG.
Weird.
So the B word is not a PG-13. It's considered mild profanity. It has literally none of the other things.
Or at least the year it came out or whatever.
One of the considerations for profanity is that someone mentioned she's having her period.
Of course they did.
Interesting. So, yeah, language, not PG-13, PG. There's that, and then there's bullying, and that's kind of it.
It is refreshing not having genocide in one of our books.
Yeah, you and your mass human destruction. Judge a book by its cover. I remember picking up the book in the library and thinking that the cover was cute. I stand by it. It is very early 2000s with the gingham pattern, but it's like a feminine, and all of the books have that style, and I really like it. But then you have a very small portrait of, it looks like girls gossiping. And so for me, it was like, ooh, drama. Yeah. I am a teenage, was it teenage at this point? I am a pre-teenage girl who has to deal with nonsense. Let's go for drama. That is my best recollection. But honestly, I just thought the book looked cute and it looked like something interesting was happening. And so I picked it up and read it. And like I said, I stand by the covers look very cute.
Yeah, my sister had read the first couple. I'm sure I just borrowed her copy, but I definitely never got through it. And I don't know why.
So I try to avoid your notes, but one of the things I wanted to laugh at is one of your notes was that the group doesn't have a name. And you're like, everyone has a name. Like, is it the Clique? Is that what they are? And you pointed out, I think, like in Mean Girls, the Pinks and
Classic, the Heathers. There's so many cute names. Did they have a name and I missed it?
Not in this book.
Oh, okay.
It comes later. I don't remember which book, but they decide that they need a name.
Me too.
It looks like it's the second book. Yeah. So they're called the Pretty Committee.
Somebody had vaguely called them that.
In the movie, yes.
Okay. I was going to say, I didn't think it was in the book.
It's not in the book. Yeah, Macy, to give them more attention, decides that they need a name, and so they become the Pretty Committee.
Okay, can we talk about her name? Because in the movie they call her Massey, which probably is her name.
I thought it was just a hip way to spell Macy, and I refuse to call her Massey.
It's a dumb name, yeah, for sure.
She sounds like a science project.
Yeah, I read it as Maisie, and I don't know why.
Also acceptable, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was throwing me off the entire movie because I was like, okay, Maisie, whatever.
I mean, it does work in a little bit because she is the center body of Massey, but I don't know. Macy's cuter. Fight me in the comments. I always read it as Macy.
Also, Massey's kind of a dumb name. Sorry if that's your name in real life, but it sucks.
Also, apparently, the author's Canadian. Fun facts.
She's given a pass, I guess.
Maybe that's a really popular name. Anyway, but she's writing about people in New York.
Maybe that's some of the weird. Even in the book, there was a kind of a big disc disconnect because the kids with their fashion.
Oh, it does not help that it was 2000s. Reading the book was like a time capsule because I don't think people realize how bad it was until you go back and look at photos. The advertisement for shows that we watched as teenagers on Nickelodeon and whatever, I've seen ads coming back up for them because, you know, they're on streaming now, and their outfits are so bad. We are going to look at the 2000s as another 80s because it is outfits where the whole outfit's green, but the shirt is stripes, and they have a green scarf that's like blobs, but the skirt is polka dotted. And we were like, yes, sir. Everybody had a beret. Everybody had a hat or a bow or something. There were women on the red carpet wearing dresses with jeans.
Oh my goodness. And then the vest, and then the dumb hats, the fedoras.
And everything is denim.
It was a lot.
So this was like a little time capsule. And I truly believe this woman picked up 17 magazine and Tiger Beat and whatever else was really popular at the time and just copied outfits from in there. I 100% believe that. So it's this cute little time capsule of, oh my gosh, we thought that was cute. Because I remember reading it and thinking, oh my gosh, they're cute. It's so crazy.
Oh, I know. Whenever Claire pulls a prank and does the, okay, wear jeans on top of colored leggings. And I guess I didn't visualize how dumb that looked until in the movie.
Which granted, the movie, we'll get that into a minute. But no, the point of Claire's thing, and I kind of like it, it's bad. It would look really bad, except when worn with confidence, then everyone be like, oh my gosh, it's fashion. And I totally believe when whatever narrator says that other people, I think it's Claire. Claire says that other people are starting to wear them. And she's like, oh my gosh, I started a trend. And I'm like, yeah, I thoroughly believe that in the 2000s, that someone watched that and was like, ooh, fashion, even though the point is it's not.
Yeah, mine was the crazy fashion like that. Didn't bother me. I think it was just the name dropping.
Oh yeah, name dropping constantly.
I'm wearing my Prada shoes with my Prada bag, and I have my couture jacket on. And it's just, first of all, you're mixing your name brands a lot.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be head to toe Prada or head to toe Gucci or head to toe anything, because then you're just copying. The whole point is to take the fashionable stuff and make them into your fashionable, because you have all these things instead of just being like a clone of what's on the red carpet. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at some of these. Avril Lavigne, camo pants, a white business shirt, except it's worn like a tank top, and she has a tie. Not even tied, just a loose tie. And then the chunky bracelets. Oh my gosh. The super thin straight hair. Oh my word. Right here is a model, and she's literally just wearing all denim.
Does she have a hat on?
No, she does not, but she has really big earrings.
The hats are the best part.
Oh, here's the Britney one where she's and her boy are all in denim. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's like I said, it's just a perfect little time capsule to me. It is just so funny. But I do a little bit love how the book named names. She doesn't feel bad. And then the punch buggy is Blueberry. I don't, gosh, what is it? Not Bloomberg, because that's the department store.
Burberry?
Bloomsbury.
Yeah, something like that.
That sounds right. That was the punch buggy because it's, oh my gosh, only my mom would think that's still cool. And then in the movie, it's Gucci sweats.
What's the age gap between when the book came out and when the movie did?
4 years.
It felt like they changed so much because the culture had changed.
Yeah, she's getting an iPhone and this, that, and the other thing versus the other one where she has a Palm. Macy has a Palm Pilot.
Yeah.
That she uses to type in her State of the Union. Oh my gosh. It's such a little time capsule to me, and I can't. They're going to see the filming of The Young and the Restless. What is this? The celebrities that they name drop that are important and that aren't important, and it's such a little time capsule. I love rereading it just for that. Anyway, the point of the book, which by the way, here's another reason I think it's Macy. Her nickname is MASS, which I would assume they would say is Mace, right? Because otherwise they're just calling her Mass straight out. And I feel like she would get fat jokes. If we're gonna be the catty middle school, whatever, the smallest hint at a fat joke that they can, automatically. They're gonna take 8th grade science and she will not live it down. Anyway.
I was very confused that never happened.
Yeah, she is described with amber eyes, dark brown, shiny shoulder-length hair. And I've always thought of her as, did you watch Full House?
Yeah.
You know when DJ gets a little older and she has that frenemy? She's the one that's like, oh, come on, DJ, you should drink, or you should come speed with us with the guys, and this, that, and the other thing, right?
Yeah, or Stephanie does.
Oh, maybe it is Stephanie's.
Yeah, because DJ stops her.
But you know the actress I'm talking about.
Yeah, no.
That is always who I've thought of what she looks like.
Oh, she would have been a good one. I mean, the main one ended up playing in the movie, did a decent job.
No.
But she wasn't pretty enough for me.
No, it's not that she's not pretty, because she's gorgeous if you look at the photography. The problem is whoever coached her to act, and I don't know if it's her acting coach, her parents, the director, kept making her face act, in that all of her acting was only in her face, and her ew face is the most unflattering facial expression on her. But they make her keep it for like 90% of the movie, and she just looks really bad. But then there's moments where she has a totally normal face, and you're like, oh, she's really cute. She's like a normal girl. But then she starts talking and moving her eyebrows every other second and making her face shape longer and her cheeks narrower. And it's so unflattering the way they make her act that she looks bad. Because I'll call them out. Chris is not cute.
Oh, for sure.
I don't even think he's cute for, surfer boy vibe. He's not cute in the movie at all. And I think that's another actor that went on to do something good, but I don't know maybe it's the makeup or how they did his hair, but it was just, girl, the only reason you think he's cute is because he's in high school. He is not that cute. But it was by the halfway through the point of the movie, I'm like, I can't watch her anymore. How in the world did she use these portions of acting in her acting little film that she sends to people to be like, hey, I can act? It was everyone else, like Bridget Mendler does great. She can do an ew face, but keeps the dimple that she's known for. She's got cute faces, got cute facial features. She does really well. Alicia, which by the way, I was sitting there for the whole movie and I was like, I know this actress from somewhere. And you know, they have their current thing where they've done a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, no, I've seen this actress somewhere. Bridget Mendler goes on to get a show in Good Luck Charlie on Disney, right?
And Lemonade Mouth.
The movie Lemonade Mouth after that, yes. But keep with me on Good Luck Charlie, right?
Yes.
She has a boyfriend on the TV show called Spencer. And in one of the episodes, you find out that Spencer is cheating on her. Her character's name is Teddy. The actress that plays Alicia is that girl.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, she becomes a mainstay in the show because she starts to date Teddy's older brother. And so they're both in the show together for a really solid amount of time. And it was just like, that's so crazy. I wonder if they came back together and they were like, hey!
Remember that random thing we did?
I remember you. Remember that movie we did that we probably don't remember anymore? I do think it's a little funny that Bridget Mendler's the character that has to design a business, considering she's now Dr. Mendler, who owns a company that creates launch stations for the space companies.
Oh, that's adorable.
She did it. She made a company, guys. Which, by the way, the movie takes out the portion where Kristen decides to file for bankruptcy. And if she fills out the paperwork correctly, the business teacher will take it as an A. I thought that was genius. That was so good to be like, hey, my business failed. I need to file bankruptcy. Why isn't that taught in business classes? That's actually really good. It was so good. And then they take it out of the movie, which is stupid because Kristen cared about getting a good grade. And she was like, oh no, I'm going to fail. Anyway, we're going to drop this subplot. We're going to keep oatmeal keeping you from anaphylactic shock, but we're going to throw out filing for bankruptcy. I hate that in the book.
But also the fact that they charged for the oatmeal to save the lives was hilarious.
Okay, here's the thing about the movie that I hate. Claire is not a good person. That is the point. point of the book is that she is corruptible. In a place like Orlando, where she has people like her, she acts like that. But as soon as she's in a different environment, she soaks in the personalities of those around her, and she becomes corrupted and is just like Macy and her friends. There's a line in the movie at the very end where Macy's like, why did you help me? And she said, because I'm not like you. But that's the point of the book series.
Oh my God.
Claire is not a good person. She is exactly like Macy. And the movie takes out a lot of things that make her a bad person, like charging people having an allergic reaction $2 for oatmeal that Lane was eating.
How does that make her a good person? Claire's the villain.
Claire is one of the villains. They're all bad people. That's the point. Later in the book series, stuff happens like Macy's dad loses his job, but Claire's dad has a really good job now, and they switch, and she's the poor one. And then they have another clique invade the school, and oh no, we have to team up together because now we have a shared enemy, and this, that, and the other thing. And the whole point is Claire is exactly like the others. And it has a level of nuance where it's realistic middle school cattiness. They're terrible people. But the movie was so intent on having a moral lesson about being yourself to the point that they switch answers in the would you rather be a friendless loser or would you rather be surrounded by people that aren't your friends? And everyone says, I would rather be a friendless loser, except Macy in her mind's like, well, you're lonely anyway. I'd rather be not alone. And then Claire comes in and says, I would rather have fake friends. And Macy really appreciates her being honest about that, but realizes, girl, that was the wrong thing to say. And it's just, I hate that. I hate a lot of things about that movie, but I hate that.
Yeah, it's just so they can make a funny one-liner about, oh, well, you already don't have any friends.
And it's to the point where it's so bad, where it's like, I want to talk about the book, but I'd rather rant about the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so the book, Claire moves into the guest house. Macy's pissed off about it because she's a bratty teenage girl. Not even 7th grade. They're entering 7th grade.
Okay, one more thing about the change from the book to the movie.
Yeah.
So in the book, Macy was going to go to shopping for back to school or whatever.
Yeah, and they changed it to an 8th grade party?
Yeah, so they were the only 7th graders invited to this 8th grade party, which is such a huge deal. And instead of being like, oh, well, I can't go, or blah, 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 make some other excuse like she does for the shopping trip in the book, she's like,
Which, granted, I don't understand why she couldn't have, in the book, she says, oh, I'm sick. And I don't understand why she couldn't have just been like, my mom's being lame and making me hang out with this person.
Yeah, her trying to keep Claire a secret doesn't make any sense.
Because you would find out about her immediately. Anyway, but yes, they changed that in the movie, but it doesn't make sense for a number of reasons.
And then she's like, the reason I can't go to this 8th grade cool girls party is because
she cut her hair recently, but not to look like a celebrity. It's because she has lice.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, she has orange Crocs in her closet, which I think it's so hilarious that in 2008 Crocs were a punchline. And here we are still.
Man, I have a nice pair of Crocs. I love them.
But that doesn't make sense because when the girl comes up to them later and is like, hey, you missed my party. It was lame without you. Did you notice that she has long hair? What? The whole point was the stupid lice. And it also doesn't make sense because she's upset about it and the mom's like, hey, if you act well, you can still go to the last end of the party. Was she just going to show up without her friends? Because she's fully intending on this being a thing. That's why she's trying to rush dinner. And then she ends up not going because her mom was going to make Claire go. You backed yourself into a hole, honey.
Also, the actress that plays Shelby, the 8th grader, is Elizabeth Giles, the mean girl from Victorious. This cast is so famous of people who had not quite hit their break or were barely starting.
I know. It's like finding out the first thing people did.
Well, Todd, the little brother, the 13 Reasons guy.
Oh, gosh. More bad movies.
More bad shows. But it was a phenomenon for at least a season and a half. Everybody's famous except for the main girl.
Yeah. It's like seeing Steve Carell's first venture into acting, which was a chicken place commercial, and it's so funny. But yes.
Claire was in nothing.
But there's so many switches. The basic plot of the book is Macy hates Claire, but she likes this dude, which, by the way, Why does Chris hang out with a child? It's worse in the movie, but in the book, I will give you, he didn't know she was in 7th grade until she's like, hey, I know Lane. And then Lane would be like, yeah, she's in my grade. Why is he telling this random 7th grader that it's a date when you have a girlfriend and then riding with her later? Macy's not that interesting, honey. Why are you riding alone on a trail with horses with a 7th grader when you have a girlfriend? I never understood that.
Yeah.
So why then? And it's never comes up. It would be something if he met her and was riding and whatever. And later on, Macy pretends to give Lane riding lessons. And it would make sense if they did that immediately. But there are 2 times where he and Macy are alone in the woods riding horses together. And he keeps hanging out with her, knowing full well she's a 7th grade. Why?
Yeah, the first time is excusable because he doesn't know her at all, and he's on her trail.
Yeah, they just met, but he asked her, do you want to ride again together? It's a date.
Oh.
My man. And so I thought, because I don't remember these books regularly, I remember the tight scenes vividly. That has carried with me into adulthood. But I didn't remember the ending with this, and I was like, is he cheating on his girlfriend with a 7th grader and then going to find out she's a 7th grader and be like, oh crap, peace. I didn't realize, but no, completely brushed under the table. Yeah, he knows she's in 7th grade. Yeah, he's hanging out with her alone, but he loves his girlfriend.
Yeah, no, he doesn't seem to like her. And I know that she clearly thinks he does.
But he keeps finding excuses to spend time with her. It's weird. And I remember high school very vividly. If you were in 8th grade dating a 7th grader, okay, lame, but whatever. But as soon as you hit high school, if you were a 9th grader dating an 8th grader, even though you've been together since like elementary school or whatever, everyone thought you were a creep and lame. As soon as that hit, no one liked you. It's just, I went to middle school around this time. I know the culture. Oh, well. It was just such specific things that we were so hung up with. And that's one of the things we were hung up on. So it was just really weird that he was so okay with just hanging out with his 7th grader. No consequences to his relationship at all.
Yeah, I saw it more of he kind of saw her as a sister because him and his sister, they had seemed like a great relationship.
And like I said, it makes total sense as soon as they start inviting Lane. Except their second time he is meeting in the woods with this child. He says it's a date and it's by themselves. And then Macy invites Lane along, which I thought was dumb on her part, but I have questions that neither of them answered. But it doesn't matter. They just shove it under the rug and it's fine and whatever.
Yeah, I didn't get creep vibes because it's very clear he did not like her. So it was fine. She was 100% stealing his hat and being childish and whatever. It's like, to be fair, he should have gotten that back.
Oh yeah, no, she was doing exactly what you would expect from a middle high schooler-ish area, because I could also see a high school girl doing that, but has a whole thing for them, is convinced it's a thing, it's not a thing, he's dating someone. Anyway, Macy is mean to Claire. That sums up most of the book. And then Claire decides to start being mean to Macy, but it backfires in her face several times, actually. And then they have a common enemy in embarrassing parents, and they're like, well, maybe you aren't so bad. And that is the book.
Relatable.
How to bully a new girl in 200 pages. If that. The book is short. That's basically the book. And as you pointed out to me, this book walked so Gossip Girl could run. And I would also argue Pretty Little Liars as well, because that also came out after this book series.
Oh, so true. But it sucks because, which I think Mean Girls was after this too, but the Heathers and Mean Girls and stuff like this do it so much better.
Mean Girls came out the same year, so I think this was just a trend.
I just don't know if it's because they're so young that they seem more catty. I don't know, because Gossip Girl, I love Gossip Girl.
Well, they're also high schoolers.
And I liked Pretty Little Liars, and I love Mean Girls.
Pretty Little Liars is also high school, isn't it?
Yeah, they're high schoolers. They're 8th grade when they start the series, technically, but like in flashbacks.
My gut reaction of, you are too young for this. I had to calm that down a little bit to be like, you are, what are they, 11?
No, they can't be 11.
How old are you in 7th grade? Around 12 or 13. So they're 12.
Okay, but 12 is different at 11.
Is it? Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah, they go in being 12. So they just started the year. So they're 12. These are 12-year-olds. I know 12-year-olds in real life. It's so hard as an adult to be like, child, you baby, you don't even know. But I have to pull myself back into being that age because I picked this book series up either late 6th grade or early 7th grade. And I felt like they were pretty realistic. Not in the, here's a $600 jacket I didn't even like kind of thing, but in the Mean Girls-ness and the things they say and do to each other, I was like, that's realistic. So I have to remember that, but I'm kind of with you. It's hard sometimes reading that 12-year-olds are criminal masterminds and wearing so much makeup that people think they're older than they are. But at the same time, they have the money, so they would be able to buy the clothes and makeup to make themselves look older. Because I don't know about but I knew girls in middle school who were definitely trying to act way older than we were with makeup or fashion or whatever they had. And so it's like, yes, they absolutely do that, but it can be hard being like, you are 12. This is a lot. And so I don't know why. Maybe it's because we have more media of it happening in high school. And so that's the trope. We're down. We've already bought into it. But I see what you're saying. It can be hard. They age up if that makes you feel better eventually.
I kind of hope so. The period prank was kind of funny. So I guess that's the comedy for the movie part of it.
No, that was a classic middle school girl prank on each other. Mean Girls prank. Can we also talk about how the male teacher in an all-girls private school acts like he's never seen a girl get her period before? That was unrealistic in my brain. But he doesn't even tell her. Okay, Macy's like, hey, I hate her. And her friends are like, I got you. Alicia puts red paint on the back of Claire's white pants to make it look like she got her period. Goes through the whole class. Class is over. Claire's about to walk away. Teacher sees it. Hey, you need to go to the nurse. Take your stuff. I'm writing you a note. Hands it to her. And she's like, okay. He's like, yeah, just go to the nurse. Doesn't give her directions. Apparently, it's basically right next door. I would have walked her, but that's just me. You know what I also would have done? Told her to put her jacket around her waist. He's just letting her walk into the hallway where class is dismissed with those pants with the red spot to find the nurse by herself on her first day. He's so queasy he can't even mention that she's on her period, but you couldn't have given her an apron, a tarp, a piece of cloth to not embarrass herself as she is walking down this hallway? Bruh.
Yeah, the teacher gave me real creep vibes. I know they had other teachers and stuff, but he's even on the field trip.
Yeah, I think that's the only teacher mentioned, isn't it?
Is he the only teacher? I thought he was just the eccentric art teacher, but then he's on their weird field trip.
Well, he's on the field trip because he's the connection with the Young and the Restless so that they can go. So it actually made more sense in the movie when he changed it to, we're going to see the New York Modern Art exhibit or whatever. That made more sense. I was always like, why are they going to see the Young and the Restless? I mean, it's not that crazy, but it's not exactly the most teenage thing. I don't know why I don't know. I don't feel like middle schoolers would be that excited, but maybe they are, but I don't know. It was weird. It's a weird field trip.
Well, and they seemed to care about it because the mom was a news anchor or she was a reporter. What was the mom doing?
Oh, Dylan's mom is a talk show host. They were not going to see her, but she did have someone from some, I think like General Hospital knockoff because he was in a coma or something, but that is a plot line. And that comes up actually in later is the girls do something and get to go on her talk show. And I distinctly remember there's a hot mic moment when one of them goes to the bathroom. Not great. I don't remember if it's something she said or just the fact that she went to the bathroom with her mic on, but it's not great. But just small little memories like that. I could not tell you which book it's in, but I definitely read the series. I have my credentials. But yeah, I just don't get the feeling he wants to be there, you know? He seems to hate all of the girls. And he's probably getting paid really well, which is why he's there. But I'm just like, you seem to hate literally everything. Also, you totally let Macy sell those products on the bus with no interference. Mr. I can be so sassy, I will threaten to cut off Kristen's hair for being late.
But then in the book, he tries to get upset that Claire is selling the oatmeal. And it's just like, okay, but you let them sell this product that gave most of them an allergy.
Which, by the way, can we talk about how how they upped the price in the movie. I didn't write it down, but it was
like $6 or 2 for 10 or something.
Yeah, and I think in the book it was $5.50. Maybe they were just like, nah, let's just round up. But I thought it was funny that they changed that. But yeah, totally didn't say anything. Didn't be like, cute girls, sit back down, or give one of his little quips or whatever. But yeah, it tries to interfere with. Granted, he should have interfered with the oatmeal selling for $2 and be like, just hand over the oatmeal. But as someone with a nut allergy, it's not peanuts, but it is. Wait a second, isn't it a tree nut in the book? Isn't it almonds?
I think it's peanuts.
I didn't write it down. The point is, though, nut allergy. They put it in the materials, even though Macy's allergic to nuts and should have said something.
It's the product they're selling. That's what's crazy. And she's like, well, I only use famous brand name for my lip gloss.
So it's totally fine if we put the stuff in there. Anyway, gives it to the girls.
You can tell she wasn't making any of the batches.
Puts it in the lip stuff. They put them on their lips. Like, they are going at it, especially in the movie. A little too much. Is a little weird. They shoot this one girl specifically for way too long, cut away, and then come back right to her, and it's a little uncomfortable. I feel bad for her because the director was like, no, you specifically make more pucker face weirdness. There's some stuff where I'm just like, the director made them really overdo facial expressions, and I hate it. But the plot is, we have put a nut allergy into a product that people put on their lips. Their lips start to swell, and oh my gosh, by golly, guess what? Oatmeal will stop this.
Does it?
And so they give the oatmeal and it's fine, and then they go to the medical center. Has no one heard of anaphylaxis before? Oh, but they just put it on the lips. Did you know you eat most of your lipstick and your lip gloss especially? If you are putting it on your lips like that, it's getting on your tongue. It's getting down your throat. You are gonna go into anaphylaxis. This is not poison ivy where, oh no, I'm itchy and there's blisters, so let me put an oatmeal bath on this. Yes, oatmeal can help allergens in like hives or things like that, but it's not going to stop anaphylactic shock. I don't believe 10 girls on that bus are allergic to peanuts, but not too much. So it's fine for it to be on their lips. It's just going to swell a lot to the point where we think they have fillers, but we haven't made fillers a super popular thing, so we're not going to call it out for fillers. None of them have an EpiPen or an issue. They're able to talk as soon as they put oatmeal on their face. None of the parents sue. Literally none of the parents. That is a plot line, that none of the parents sue. No. The most unrealistic scene in the whole book. And they kept it in the movie.
I'm glad they didn't fact check when they put this on, because it was hilarious to watch.
It was so stupid. That's not how peanut allergies work. At least not for everybody. Oh my gosh.
I know. Well, and the fact that 10 or 11 of them had it and nobody had an actual real reaction.
There are people that cannot be in the same air as peanut particles, or they start to swell up. I can't.
Super annoyed, because the whole reason they start this makeup company is because one of the girls is eating like 45 cherries while hiding in a bush for some reason.
Oh yeah, no, Dylan has an eating disorder for sure.
So much. Well, and her mom and her sister do.
And that gets called out later in the series, but I do wish they touched upon it a little bit more in the first book. But granted, it is 2004 and people are calling Hillary Duff fat and having her on talk shows to ask about her new diet plan so she won't be so fat. We were not great about eating disorders in the early 2000s.
Well, and she does, what, Weight Watchers, Dylan does? Or whatever the actual name is.
It's some sort of fad diet where you get frozen food, and I don't remember what it is.
The lean cuisines or something.
It's not Weight Watchers because it wasn't a brand I had heard of, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's real. They changed it in the movie to something like the Circle Diet, and I think that was just save skin because, like I said, the author names names. She's gonna say everybody's brand. She's gonna talk about Britney Spears. She is going to have lyrics, pages of lyrics in her book and give no cares. But the movie was not gonna do that. She calls out Target when Claire is in her bathing suit and she's like, oh, this is a fashion designer. And then the friends are like, oh my gosh, it's a fashion designer. And then Macy's like, yeah, that's from Target. And then in the movie, it's like, no, that's bargain bin, basement dweller, blah, 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 knockoff. And I was like, so Target.
Target?
Sorry, no, Target is too upset. So Walmart.
But they didn't do a lip gloss with cranberry berries on them.
Or cherries, yeah.
I'm so annoyed.
Yeah, it becomes a thing because Dylan is...
She has them for like 24 hours or whatever. She has this cute little lip. And then whenever they're actually making the thing, they just Google a random recipe.
And it's 2004, so I was surprised it tasted good, period. I thought it was going to be rancid. Absolutely, because they were naming some of the products, and I was like, that just sounds like something you would put in a tube and eat. I don't know about this. And so I was surprised it worked, and the problem was that it was peanut in it, which really, I swear, I thought it was almonds.
I mean, it might have been in the...
I think it was almond oil, but it's beside the point. Put a known allergen in.
That's even weirder. 10 people have an almond allergy.
To the point, there were so many people with an allergy on that bus, period. That's why I'm like, teacher, you don't know what are in these tubes. You're allowing them to do a whole presentation while the bus is moving. They're standing up and doing stuff. Which, by the way, in the movie, they go on a regular school bus. And I was thinking a charter bus for sure, minimum. But I guess we didn't have that in the budget. It's fine. But yeah, no, you're right. They take out them selling the oatmeal. And it's just part of why they're terrible. Ugh. But want to talk why Claire is actually terrible? Let's talk about, the nurse thing. She gets bad directions from Dylan, who also apparently sucks at Spanish. But Dylan gives her bad directions. And in the book, it basically takes her to the janitor's closet in the basement. In the movie, Dylan sends her to Macy. Macy is currently in yoga class, which is surrounded by glass windows. In fact, you have to pass 4 panes of windows to get to the glass door, right? This is the setup. Claire walks past all of these windows, looks into the door, opens the door, looks in. There is a pause. There is a second pause as Claire is looking into the room with 5 people on the floor clearly doing yoga and then yells, "Nurse Adele?"
Yeah, Claire's an idiot.
She's so dumb! Why did you block it like this? And then later on, oh no, Macy's gonna find us in her room, and the little brother, which by the way, he was way cooler in the book, and I'm so bummed that they nerfed him, but he also becomes more important in later books too. So she's gonna hide under the bed, and he's gonna take the rap for it and pretend to be a creep or whatever. In frame. Okay, first of all, she's coming in, and Claire's scared, and she lifts the covers over her head so you can see her full hair and face. It's high enough so her hair doesn't look bad. You know, you gotta make sure hair and makeup gets their props. Switches frames to Macy coming in, then switches back so you can see Macy and the brother, but you know who else you can see? Claire! Her whole head is sticking out from under the covers as she's holding the carpet next to her, and Macy doesn't notice! Why did you block the scene like that? I can't. I cannot. There's so many things, inconsistencies and stupid things, like they keep Macy's State of the Union thing, but they move it onto an iMac instead of in her Palm Pilot. But the reason she has the State of the Unions is because she doesn't trust to have a diary, except when Todd's in there, he starts flipping through her diary that she has and never uses, and also he doesn't find anything incriminating in that, which, okay. Or when the girls go stake out to look at Chris, and they're hiding behind a concrete stone wall, and he sits on there and whatever, except when Macy's typing out her State of the Union later, she says one of the things that is out is hiding in bushes. What bushes? Are the bushes in the room with us? What bushes, Macy? I can't. And you're right, all of the dialogue is super stilted to the point. One of them is a meme in my mind. Macy and her mom are having an argument in the kitchen about Claire being at the sleepover, right?
Yeah.
Which I kind of hate that they moved it from the pantry, because I can actually see a mom always taking their child into the pantry to yell at them instead of the open kitchen. Beside the point, they didn't have the space, whatever. They are in the middle of a heated argument, right? To the point where I think in the book, it's almost to like, I hate you from the child, you know, levels of fight or whatever. And Macy's has her moment and says the things is like, you're ruining my life or something like that. And she starts to walk off, and the mom just yells at her, "You need to walk Bean! You need to take Bean for a walk!" And I just want to end all of my arguments with some non sequitur like that. What? It's so funny, the delivery sometimes, but also it's not. This movie, I can't. It's so bad. The soundtrack is pretty trash, right? I don't know. Did you like the soundtrack? How did you feel about it? It felt like corporate, generica, teenage girl pop to me, but how did you feel about it?
I mean, I feel like it matched the movie.
So low budget trash. Yes.
Yes.
But can we talk about how funny it is that when Lane starts playing music from her speaker bag, it's literally one of the songs on the soundtrack used earlier, and she plays it on her bag, and all of the girls hate it? Is the movie self-aware?
Nope. They only hate it because it's so loud and the weird kid did it.
That their music is trash. They couldn't even pay someone to do some sort of weird techno. That would have worked really well. Or we had just gone through grunge and could have had punk. We could have even had a boy band. But no, it is the exact song that was played earlier. And everyone's like, ew, that's gross. Why would you play? Why did they do this? Oh my gosh. They also calmed down the Claire moments being a horrible person, but they also toned down the bullying Claire gets. And so sometimes she comes across as really overly emotional. We also don't hear anything about her Orlando friends, which I thought was weird. She's just taking pictures to kind of be a creep, not to just send to her friends. She's just like taking pictures. And she doesn't have like the arm bracelets like that. It was such a big moment in the book where she cuts the arm bracelets off because it's symbolic of the fact that she's lost that innocent girl she was with her friends. And then later on, she looks down and she regrets taking them off. She's like, oh crap, but you know, you can't undo it. She cut them off. And it's not even in the movie. The little literary merit we have. Come on.
Yeah, the movie really took a few things that were good about this book and was like, you know what, actually, we don't care about that continuity.
And instead, we're going to make Macy jump out of a cake. If one of my friends in 7th grade told me that I should jump out of a cake to impress a boy, I would ask if she's trying to make me look like a stripper.
But also, it wasn't his birthday party. It was just a party charity thing at her house.
And his birthday just happened to be...
Yeah.
Even if he didn't have a girlfriend, the shirt saying, I love Chris Appleby. First of all, how did she get a shirt that says, I heart Chris Appleby, and her parents didn't know? I could totally believe a lot of the outfit stuff, but that's custom. Who made that? Because she has the robes, but her parents had to help her get the robes. I also hate that Claire came up with the glambition.
Yeah.
You had to keep giving her stuff, and it's just, no, that's not the point of Claire's character. She's not cool. That's the point. That makes her transformation into Mean Girls later even bigger. But this movie wasn't getting a sequel. It sure acts like it could, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, in the books, I mean, Claire clearly is a villain, but she also is a little bit humble, super naive. She is mostly retaliating. She does do some planning and thought process towards the middle whenever she starts sneaking in the room and clearly like messing with the friends.
Yeah, but that's in direct retribution for what they pull at the pool.
Yeah.
Which in the movie, all Macy does is says that's a knockoff, which is true, but that's beside the point. And so she goes running home and crying.
Also, they tried to make her mom the main character in the movie.
She's in so many scenes, but there's a couple times like when she gets grounded. Yeah, but Macy's mom's in it way more than she is in the movie. And Isaac's way more of a character. And literally every adult around Macy is telling her to be nice to Claire, and Macy's being not nice to Claire. That's a whole plot point. But I will say in the movie, I did like the line that they gave Isaac, where there are more girls at that school than those girls, which is very stilted and horrible writing. You literally could have just put then them, but that's beside the point. There are more girls at that school than those girls. Go find them. Such good advice.
They just missed the good scene where Isaac basically yells at Maisie.
Pull her over! It's like, Macy, get your butt back here.
Yeah. Well, because she didn't let her out of the car.
But also, Claire just waited, and either the car set up like a 6-door situation and she could have gotten out of the car by itself, or in the movie, it's a 4-door situation and she would need to climb over the seat to get out. Everyone's leaving the car, Claire. Get over the seat and go through the door. But she just sits there waiting for something to happen? And I guess it's a little bit Claire's naivety, but girl, get out of the car! Open the door or climb over the seat. What are you doing? But yes, and then Isaac being like, hey, stop being a little brat, except not saying that because he is staff. but still, even Isaac calling her out is good.
Isaac has no part in the movie.
Instead of the movie, he keeps giving looks.
I'm so sad.
Maisie gets called out by adults so often in the book, and alas. We also miss the good moment where Kristen's like, Claire, I'm glad I told you I'm poor instead of Macy, even when they're fighting. That was also a really good moment. If you want to give Claire the good moments, that's a good moment for Kristen to be like, I'm glad that you know about it. Oh well. I don't know what they're doing. I never know what they're doing. I hope the people that like the movie think it's camp, but I just think it's not good for the book.
God, especially if Mean Girls came out the same year.
Mean Girls came out the same year that the book came out. So the Clique book and Mean Girls both came out in 2004. The movie came out in 2008. So the movie came out post Gossip Girl, post Mean Girls. When did Pretty Little Liars come out? No, not the TV show, books. Pretty Little Liars came out 2006. So we are post Pretty Little Liars. It really does feel like, okay, maybe this book series started something, or it's a trend that was already kind of popular but then blew up in 2006, because Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars came out in 2006.
I mean, to be fair, all of the vampire books we have now would not have existed without Twilight.
Yeah. There are times when a popular book comes out and then the whole world is flooded with that thing. It happened with Harry Potter and Magic Boarding Schools, happened with Twilight and Paranormal Romance. The fact that bookstores have a section called Paranormal Romance is thanks to Twilight. YA books having a genre to themselves, because it literally was children's and then adults. There was not this young adults and then later mid-lit got added. Trends absolutely happen, and I think the Clique was just on the forefront. I'm not gonna say it's progenitor, because Mean Girls is pretty great, and women being catty toward each other at different ages is always peak.
Well, and I mean, the Heathers was way before all of those too.
Yeah.
I don't know what year that one was.
The movie came out in 1988.
Yeah.
The musical... Oh, never mind. I thought the musical was first. The musical was after 2010. So it is a 1988 movie.
Yeah. I mean, basic vibes.
And how many 90s movies is, oh, this stupid jock or the pretty bimbo is mean to me. Oh no, whatever will I do? You know. But there was definitely, during this time period, it was very popular to have whatever Clique thing, middle school, high school, and running with it. Because a lot of media right then just was like, trend, this is what people want. We're going to give them the thing. Alas. But you couldn't kind of tell how much people liked the book, because the movie came out and then I guess the world ignored it, and the book series kept going for 3 more years. It did not slow down the books. Books kept coming. And then she went on to write Monster High, but good for her. Get that bag. Get that money. Hooray for Canada, I guess. But overall, yeah, this was going to be a short episode until you made me watch the movie, and I thought it was a little bit funny, because I didn't realize you hadn't watched the movie, and I thought your thought process was, well, if you're going to make me read the book, I'm going to make you watch the movie.
No, I mean, that is what it was.
I will torture you in your own way. But no, you just introduced this to my life in a way that it's okay. What are we at? I still have a tally of how we're doing books-wise. I'll take the L on this.
Is this what we both don't like?
I like it.
You still like it? Okay.
It felt like a time capsule to me. I would find it exhausting trying to read the whole series now, but I can see why I liked it. They are very short. I read so slow, but I read it in a day, and I was exhausted by the end. I was like, ooh, girls. A part of me wants to read it because I have such distinct memories from this series, and they are so random that they've stuck out with me. And so the context, and also to relive these moments of middle school.
With your brain fully developed.
And yeah, it's hard. General thoughts, the wow, you're too young for this is so strong. And I don't know if I could read the series. I wish the movie were better so I can be like, I could watch the movie and be like, cute, camp. But I hate the movie. It's so bad and stilted, and the director directing the over facial expressions is so bad, and I'd
rewatch it if they remade this movie. If they did it better, I'd watch another one of these.
It's not a replacement, and I have books on my shelf that I read in middle school that I wouldn't reread, but I'm like, oh my gosh, that was part of my childhood, and that's kind of how I feel about this. If I owned the book, I wouldn't be mad, but I'm not picking it up anytime soon, and I'm not handing it to my my child either. Somehow, my child finds the book and it becomes obsessed. Sure, fine. We'll go to the library and you can check out the books. That's what I did in middle school. I checked them out. I'm not going to buy them for you. But follow that itch. I don't think it's a series where they are definitely showing bad behavior that I wouldn't want my child to reenact. But also, when I read them, a part of you knows it's fiction. I feel like you're old enough in middle school to know what's fiction and what's not. Maybe not everyone, but I did. So I guess it would just depend on maturity level. But I don't think anything's problematic like I feel about specials.
Well, and with this book, yeah, they prank each other and they're bullying and stuff. But it's okay. They put the paint on your pants. They accidentally, with the allergic reaction, I mean, that's the worst thing that happens, and that's an accident.
The pool scene with putting food on her is pretty bad.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, though. Like,
I mean, Mean Girls doing Mean Girl stuff never makes sense completely. But there are so many adults and other children going, that's not okay. That I feel a little bit that it's balanced somehow.
Yeah.
There's people in the books going, what you're doing is not okay. You should be nice to Claire. You should not be mean.
Well, and Claire, pretty early on, is the villain. I can't get past this.
All of them are the villain.
But Maisie's just trying to keep her friends. And Claire, even though she has a chance to have a real friend in Lane, she's like, this girl's kind of lame. I really want Maisie to be my friend because I think her friends are so cool.
And that's why the scene in the sleepover is so big of her being like, I would rather have fake friends than no friends. It's such a key part of Claire's personality that she just wants to fit in so badly that she'll betray who herself is if she had one to begin with. Granted, you're in middle school and reinventing yourself constantly, but the point is that she is malleable in that way. She doesn't really have integrity to herself. She just becomes whatever is around her. And that's why the whole Lane thing, and like later on, like she loses Lane as a friend because she becomes such a Macy person. What, spoiler alert, she also ditches Lane, joined the pretty committee later. Surprise to no one.
And Lane ditches her.
Yeah, it makes up in the book when they're like, okay, fair is fair. We both ditched each other for Macy. But yeah, Claire's not a good person. And that's part of the book. Like, that's part of the point. And the movie was just like, no, moral lesson, just be yourself, kids. Also, there are certain things that are coming back, okay, right? Nostalgia is for 20 years. So we were nostalgic about the 80s and the 2000s. We were nostalgic about the 90s and the 2010s. Now people are becoming nostalgic for the early 2000s, to the point where I was watching the movie and thinking, oh, that hairstyle, people would do that now. That outfit, I could see that being a thing. But then there were other things, and you're just like, I hope that never comes back. So it was kind of, once again, a fun time capsule, but mainly Macy's outfits, which once again adds to the point where she seems less attractive than she is, because I don't know. Also, all of Dylan's outfits are ugly. All of them, alas. I have a question though. Do you think those were actual name brand clothing, or do you think they were just saying that?
See, I think that's part of the disconnect, because that didn't look like high fashion at all.
It looked cheap as crap, for sure. Especially some of Dylan's. And I was literally sitting there thinking, do they really? Because when you have costumes, you have to have several pieces of the same thing in case something happens to it. Are they really out here buying 3 designer jackets for a 12-year-old to wear? Times 4 times 8 million, because they're constantly changing clothes. Also obligatory makeover / changing clothes scene. It's the 2000s. I'm not surprised. But I just sit there and I wonder if that's part of the cheapness of it, is it doesn't look designer. It looks very cheap. Like you put it together in your back room and it's being held together by bobby pins. But maybe it is. I don't know. I would like someone to say that or not. Because Macy was listing out the different things that Dylan was wearing in one scene, and they ugly. Like all of that is ugly. And designers can absolutely have ugly things. And then people wear it and act like it's not ugly. And everyone else is like, but that's still ugly. I don't know. They didn't even have the budget for a charter bus. How are they going to have the budget for designer clothing? Is that the budget? Is that the only thing they went real on? And that's why they didn't have any budget for literally anything else? I don't know. The questions are there. Speaking of, one question for the author, not the director. I have so many questions for the director and the production company and the screenplay writer. But for the author, I would be really curious what her favorite movie is. at this point when she wrote the book? Because I'm wondering if she was looking at movies from that time, because there's certain tropes that come across, and I'd be really curious. Are you a rom-com kind of girl, chick flick? Are you actually, my creativity is in this genre, but actually I love this? Especially now that I know about Monster High. Is she a classic monster movie kind of girly? I would just be very curious in the media that this author consumes to get ideas and tropes and to be inspired and just enjoy life. So I'd be very curious about that.
My question for the author is, do you know anybody with a nut allergy? I feel like you don't.
I can't. It's so bad.
The end.
Rule number 1. And I don't know, is it 2004 and people are just not educated, and now we're super sensitive to the fact that people can die when introduced to peanut particles? Because I remember that in middle school and high school becoming such a big talking point for people, because, you know, there's horrible people out there that are like, well, just suck it up, buttercup. And it's like, they are literally dying. But I remember that being a really big deal in later high school, but not so much in middle school.
It might just have been dated from back then.
And people just didn't know, but at the same time,
11 kids in the class have a peanut allergy? Ain't no way.
And all of them are just, I get puffy lips and not, my tongue is swelling. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's be honest though. The most unrealistic scene in that movie is no one gets sued. No one gets fired either. How is Vincent not fired?
Also, I feel like Vincent is somebody she knows. He is based off of some quirky uncle or best friend from college or something.
The movie went the gay angle, which it's the 2000s, and so they do the really effeminate gay, whatever, sassy gay best friend. But I think he is gay. I think you find that out later, and I'm trying to remember. It's hard, but I don't know.
Not in this book or movie.
He came across as very authoritative, where I feel like in the movie they try to make him quirky because that's the only representation gay people were allowed at that time, you know? Oh well. But yeah, no one sues, no one gets fired. I don't believe you for a second, but that's fine. It's over. It can just be a distant memory as we move on to rating, which feels like meeting my middle school self out of 10 if I haven't made that thoroughly clear now. It was an experience. I feel like I relearned something about myself, and I'm not mad about it. It was definitely a phase, and we developed since then, and is no longer a phase. That was sure interesting. I was so obsessed with these books. Oh my gosh. Who would want a prequel book? Me, little Sam in middle school.
I'm gonna give this a stealing a boy's hat out of 10 because it's cute in theory, but it's actually kind of dumb.
No, we did jacket stealing.
All the jackets. Like, oh, I'm so cold.
Not even just guys we were interested in. Literally any guy. I think we all just needed to go to the men's sections of Walmart and buy their hoodies.
Oh, no.
But yeah, stealing hats is a little less cool because they're mainly baseball caps, which look okay. The hoodies were useful. It's fine. Hats versus hoodies. Let's go. I'll go for hoodies all the way, but it's fine. Read again? No, probably not.
Also no.
I can't imagine what would... Maybe if I got an audiobook, because it would be like, what, 2 hours?
Well, good luck, because they didn't have one, and I had to do the ebook of this.
Oh, that's true. I remember that being a thing. If there were an audiobook, maybe.
Yeah, I'd probably maybe listen to that, but...
Not physically.
I don't know. I don't regret reading it, just because it is the forefront to a lot of other series, and you see it recommended, gets like the Clique, the Selection, Hunger Games. There's a few books that people are always like comparing it to, like Twilight is one of those. It kind of came first. It didn't, but nobody's read the Heathers.
Yeah, it comes up, and as we know, it gets mentioned with Miss Mojo.
That's right.
Really up there.
You know you've made it.
You're on a Miss Mojo list. But have you read this book? Hats or hoodies? I want everyone's thoughts on this now. And if hat, what type of hat are we stealing?
Fedora only, please.
Fedoras.
Dig it out from 2004, though.
Oh my gosh. I went through a fedora.
You look like you had a fedora.
I had some very cute ones. Thank you. But it's beside the point. So please tell us your favorite type of hat as well. Thank you. Do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you like the video, hit like. And if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring the Clique with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering Set in Stone by Mari Mansusi. That looks right. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Danielle.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape with Me Book Club is a Lunar Skulk production. Check us out on TikTok or Instagram. To keep up to date with us, Lunar_SKULK.